welcome back to the channel, to the new channel. I'd like to introduce everybody first for 1 second. I'm Josh. This over here is one of my, stand up Tate, one of my identical twin sons, Tate, and the other one is Chase, who's behind the camera. This is a buggy that we built, did a total build on about 5 months ago, sometime this winter. It's a 2023 Polaris General XP4. We will go over the whole tutorial on the entire build. We probably should have done a video on the build because it's got a lot of nice stuff on it, but we wasn't doing the YouTube stuff then. So, but anyway, today's video is going to involve muffler. We're taking off the stock factory muffler, which is a little too loud for the customer, and we are putting on this nice new HMF quieter muffler. It's not supposed to reduce the horsepower or anything, just actually lowers the decimals by what, 10 decimal points. Takes it from,
it's like
88 down to a 78, somewhere along in there. So anyway, we will get to work on that. The bumper has already been removed. The reason we removed the bumper already is because a lot of people don't have bumpers on them. And there's so many other bumpers out there, we didn't want to go through a tutorial on just a general bumper removal. So we're going to start with the muffler. Okay, so normally what we do on any of these builds or any kind of aftermarket modification stuff is I usually do all the fabricating work and kind of the wrench turning mechanic work. And Tate and Chase specialize mostly on the interior and wiring, the wiring engineering, electrical part of it, switches, all kinds of stuff like that. The lights, the whip lights, you know, backups, stuff like that. Any kind of custom fabrication, I do all that. And usually any kind of type of wrench turning, I do that. But Tate does assist me some on that. So today I've got something else I got to work on non-related to buggies. And I'll be in the background doing that. I hope I don't make too much noise. And Tate's going to take this muffler off. Should be a pretty simple task. He'll kind of walk you through that. So there you go.
Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is, start off with this thing, you take out these 4 screws to be able to access the actual muffler. And then after you do that, you come over here and you take out these 2 screws. Now these are spring screws, so you have to have impact. If I already tried it with a wrench, it won't work. It'll just spin and sit there. It won't spin it out. It'll just keep going back and forth like that. So, but if you have impact, it'll pull it right off. So, and then after that, there's springs all around this thing. So you just have to take a screwdriver and pretty much just pry out the springs. They look like this right here. There's one right here and there's one behind it that hold it in. I've already took the one behind it off because, well, this thing was already off before and I put it back on so we could do this video. But there's this spring right here and there's a spring behind it. And that's pretty much it. And it just should just slide right out to you and you have the entire muffler except for this. This I just took off just so I could access more of the muffler itself and actually see behind it to know what I was doing. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so basically how you set up this specific thing. The instructions are kind of terrible, like all side-by-side parts, but the HMF dual one, the twin, so basically you take this out, you slide this up in here, this mount they give you. You put this back on, that's exactly what I did. And then after that you go up top and you put these 2 bolts, you slide them in there and then they go through the holes of the thing. That's pretty much all you gotta do. And then you can stick your hands in there to put the bolts on the end of them. And then after that I'm gonna mount the exhaust pipe. Okay, so basically, I know this is a little bit of a thing on here. So basically all I did was put them screws on there. Now, that is kind of hard to get them screws in there. You have to shove your hands up in here with a wrench and hold them on there, which is pretty much a pain. You have to have tiny hands, and then once you get them in there, your wrist has to be pretty small too, to get your hand all the way up in there to hold these nuts, hold the wrench onto the nuts. Because you have to be up top also with the bed open to be able to tighten the bolts down that I showed you earlier that are right up here. Now next, this is so far the easiest part. All I did was take the muffler out of the box. You set it up here, you put your bolts back here, which are also, this whole thing is painful to get the nuts on. So I just set it up here, put the nuts on here, which you can see probably in the time lapse, and I just set it up here, and that's pretty much it so far until I put my other one on there, and then I'll connect it to the actual exhaust port. So there's a couple challenges I've came in to things about this exhaust system. One, the dump bed. This bumper cannot go on here and dump, and plus you cannot dump either because these right here will hit this right here, hit the side of the exhaust system. These bolts right here are an absolute pain. You'll need 2 people to help you put this in. Good thing I had Chase over here to help me out with it. Next, these right here, you do not use the factory bolts, you use the factory springs. So it comes with this right here. You put this washer on there, and then you just take the spring, put it over it. I put some anti-seize on there to make it so it don't, anti-seize, so it won't seize up. So, and that's pretty much all that I did. Over here, there's a clamp that you have to bring up here, you put it around here, and you tighten it down to this right here. You tighten it down to here so it clamps real good so no exhaust fumes get out. And then these up here you have to make sure you get good and tight. These in here you can hit with an impact. I showed you that before. And that is pretty much it on that. And there we go. That's it. It will show them the sound here in a little bit.
And that pretty much concludes the muffler install. Tate finished it up last night. We didn't have time to shoot the, what do you call it, Chase? X-row?
You mean the outro?
Outro? What, you mean the thing going out? Didn't have time to shoot the outro?
Didn't have time to shoot the outro.
So, learning new terms here. Anyway, so Tate's not here this evening, but it's finished up. The only thing left to do is put the bumper back on, but when you put the bumper on, it hides the muffler a little bit. So we was going to wait and do that after we finish the video, because all the bumpers are different anyway. We'll crank it up and let you hear the difference.
Go.
And Chase is going to insert the before voiceover, however you want to say it, in there now. You'll hear that. I don't hear it right now, but you'll hear it on YouTube. Alright. Whatever. And now we'll crank this up, and then you'll hear this one. There you go. Most of the noticeable difference is at higher idle. So when you're driving down the road, driving down the trail, climbing hills, that's where the noticeable difference is at. It's not much at idle. It's mostly at higher RPMs. And that pretty much concludes that. Check back later for some more videos. Our upcoming videos will include this razor right here, my XP 1000, aka the Blue Donkey. It's getting all 4 new wheel bearings on it. It's got about 2,300 miles on it, and the wheel bearings are coming out, getting loose. I don't want them to come out. They're actually getting loose. We jacked it up the other night. That's why it looks this way. But anyway, I jacked it up and checked them. We'll do a video on the 4 wheel bearings. We've got this General sitting over here, which belongs to Tate and Chase. This is the General that we did a complete build on it as well. It's a General Sport. We've done a build on it to pretty much make it to an XP, but we have a lower A-arm that is been pulled out. Super ATV A-arm, lower A-arm, that knuckle right there has been pulled out. The threads are pulled out of it from where they got up against a tree going up a hill, and tree got into the tire in here, didn't do any damage to the tire or anything, and we was able to ride it the whole entire weekend. Did not notice until we was really kind of coming back that night that the tires kicked out a little bit, and after further investigation I noticed that. So, but I called up our good friends at Super ATV, and no questions asked, within 4 days we had a new lower A-arm, free of charge, no shipping, everything was free. So we'll throw that on there and be ready to rock and roll with that. Also, we're going to put bushings in the hubs. These hubs back here, we've noticed this machine's got about 1,800 miles on it, and the bushings are getting wore out in the hub itself. Nothing to do with the A-arms, it's in the factory hub. We're putting back factory bushings in it. And we're going to adjust the clutch on this beast over here. This has a Dalton clutch, aftermarket Dalton clutch kit, which comes with a full secondary clutch and weights and everything for your primary clutch. But it needs to be adjusted. It's turning too many RPMs going down the road and turning too many RPMs on the trail as well. So we're going to work on that and see if we can get that down to a little bit more modest RPM so it's not screaming going down the road. And I think that is about it. Is that right, Chase? Is that pretty much it? And we're going to do oil changes and everything else, but we're not going to show you all that. Everybody knows how to change the oil in them, I hope, by now. So I guess that's it. Adios, everybody.